Next up, we have Taurus and Taurus rising. Welcome back to the channel. I am Venus Green. Thank you so much for those of you who are returning for your June horoscopes. Truly appreciate that. I do want to humbly acknowledge that May was a bit of a challenging month for me, both personally and professionally, but all is well and we are moving forward with grace. So I just wanted to say, truly appreciate you being here and continuing this journey with me. Now let's get into the month. I'm going to do things just a little bit differently. I'm going to be splitting the horoscopes into sort of two parts so we can go hopefully a little bit deeper and help you get the most out of each of the transits or shifts that are happening. Now, this video is going to cover the first half of June. That will include the full moon in Sagittarius on the 11th. So let's take a closer look and see what's happening up through the full moon for you. All right, first up we have your chart ruler Venus. She's going to start the month off in Aries, which is your 12th house. So house of solitude, inner work, and endings. She's really finishing up her transit here. You may have felt more withdrawn, maybe more energetically just low as May sort of wrapped up, and even into that first week of June, you're going to carry a little bit of that quiet internal sort of tone that you've been dealing with as Venus has been transiting that 12th house. Venus here really asks you to pause, reflect, and recharge. And so if that's what you feel like you've been doing, that's exactly what you should have been doing. Why? Because she's getting ready to move into your first house, right? So that happens on the 6th of June. Venus is going to return home to Taurus. She loves to be there, and into your first house. So it's self and identity. And this is a moment of like reemergence for you, right? It's kind of like it's the wake up. You're probably going to feel like you're waking back up, right? Your physical body is waking back up. Your desires are waking back up. Your sense of presence is waking back up. It's magnetic energy for you, Venus in the first house. Everybody's looking at you, Taurus. Venus here makes you more visible, more attractive, and definitely more aligned. It's a really good time to invest in yourself. This can be a wardrobe update. This can be a skincare routine. This can be just honoring, making better choices for the self, whether that's mind, body, soul. All right, then we have Mars in Leo square Uranus. So this is 4th house for you. Mars is going to be moving through Leo all month, energizing that 4th house of home, family, roots, and private life. Now, you're probably going to feel like you have this urge to protect your space in some way. You're going to be maybe advocating for your emotional needs on some level. Some of you might be making the decision to sort of finally take on some kind of a home-related issue that you have been sitting on for a little while. Now, by the 15th, Mars is going to be making this tense square to Uranus in Taurus in your first house. So this aspect is kind of like signature for disruption, right? So maybe there is something around the home that shifts very quickly. Could be that you experience a sudden emotional outburst as well. It could also be that you are realizing that the living situation that you have really is no longer benefiting you, or it doesn't support the person that you are becoming, right? I say becoming because you have Uranus in the first house, right? So making major changes there. And when we have an outer planet like that that's making major changes slowly over a long period of time to one of the major pillars of our chart, which first house is. So what are the major pillars? First house, house of self. 4th house, house of home. 7th house, close relationships. And the 10th house, career. Any of those that are experiencing sort of an overhaul, if you will, are going to have shifts to the other 3. And that's kind of what you are experiencing here. Regardless of how this energy plays out for you, there's something that needs to shake loose, and you need to trust that shaking loose is what should be happening and that it's needed, and let that thing go. You could also be feeling really physically restless around this time as well, right? Your body could be craving some kind of a change in terms of the routines that you've set it in, or possibly, experiencing the same environments every day. So in some way here, we need to have a shakeup or sort of create a change on our own. So you might consider channeling that energy into organizing something, renovating something, redecorating something, maybe just making the decision to assert healthier emotional boundaries in some way. Now, if we take a look at Mercury and Jupiter, both of those are going to enter Cancer, and that's the third house for you. So Mercury enters Cancer on June 8th, and then will be followed by Jupiter on June 9th. House of communication, neighbors, siblings, local travel, your mindset. Now, this combination can bring some healing conversations within the family. That's a possibility. Some of you might have this desire to write something, or maybe just to journal. If you already have a writing project, or you're already regularly journaling, you're probably going to have the desire to spend more time doing that. You're going to want to invest more in that in some way. Now, with Jupiter here, I would say don't be surprised if your words carry a little bit more influence than they usually do. You're probably going to feel very much here with Jupiter that, your everyday exchanges just have a little bit more emotional depth to them all the way around. And then lastly, I could probably see that some of you might be either assisting or helping a neighbor, possibly even a sibling, kind of work through some kind of a transition or a challenge around this time as well. Now, for you personally, this would be a really good time for you to sign up for a class, or to maybe revisit some kind of a project you'd started prior that requires some kind of an emotional storytelling, some sort of nurturing guidance, something in that Cancerian realm, right? Mercury in Cancer sharpens your intuition, and it makes your thinking more reflective. So take time to truly feel the words that you're choosing during this transit, especially if you are investing in a writing project. And then you might even notice that you just have like deeper compassion in how you speak to yourself, and that's so important. There's a subtle but also profound sort of upgrade to that inner narrative that you roll through your head, and that's going to be very helpful for you moving forward. On June 11th, we have that full moon in Sagittarius, happens at 20 degrees. For you, highlighting the 8th house, it's shared finances, deep emotional bonds. It's about transformation in your psychological patterns. This moon is really, it's part of this Grand Mutable Cross. And that involves Sun in Gemini, Moon in Sagittarius, and the nodes. So North node's in Pisces, South node is in Virgo. This is a potent combination here that creates pressure to adapt or to integrate or to let go in some way. You could be confronting some kind of old fears that are bubbling up around this time related to trust or scarcity of some kind, possibly vulnerability. There's going to be something related to probably finances as well, because we are on we're on the finance axis here, right? So something related to debt, to shared money, to emotional entanglements is going to be coming to a head around this time. There's empowerment in facing those things that you would usually avoid. And so I definitely encourage you to do that. Now, with the moon being square the nodes, there's going to be an invitation to release things like perfectionism, micromanaging, fear-based control, right? That's Virgo South Node there. And step toward that more spiritual surrender, flow, and connection part of you, which is where the North Node is in Pisces. So there may be this desire for some kind of spiritual intimacy in some way, right? Or maybe a call back to honor a soul contract that has either completed or is evolving and moving to its next chapter. Regardless of what's happening, emotional honesty is the key that's going to unlock real empowerment for you. Now, if we take a look at how your soul's going to be checking in and sort of, the most practical ways to use the energy around this time, you're probably looking at the potential for some sort of financial negotiation. Maybe you're dealing with a tax issue. Maybe you have some kind of inheritance matter. Something on that finance axis is demanding your attention around this time. Some of you are going to realize that you have a fear that's been inherited from either your family or possibly a past partner, and that's blocking your ability to be abundant or to believe that you can have abundance. And then for some of you, there is a pattern here of caretaking or probably rescuing others, either financially or emotionally, and that's coming up because it needs some restructuring. So what could you do instead? What could you meditate on? What could you journal about? Think about where you've been giving your power away. And every time I feel like whenever I say that, people say, I never give my power away. You do give your power away, emotionally or financially, right? Every time we compromise, and I'm not saying that that's something, that we should never do, give our power away. We obviously have to compromise, but think about where you're overdoing that, right? For some of you, there is just a belief about either loss or scarcity or survival, something that you're sort of hanging on to, and that probably comes from childhood, but give that some time and attention to figure out that that's not who you are anymore and you're becoming something else. Give some thought to what is it that you're ready to let go of? Where am I overextending myself? Where am I feeling like there isn't peace right now in my life? That's the area to focus on. All right, Taurus, that is everything I have for you in your Part 1 June horoscope forecast. We are going to be covering that new moon in Cancer and Mars entering Virgo. That happens in the second half of June horoscope, so keep your eye out for that. And the first half of the month is asking you to recenter, to honor your nervous system, and to be honest about what you can no longer carry on your own. Leave me a comment below. Let us know what's happening in terms of what belief or fear or possibly pattern it is that you are ready to shed under this full moon. Of course, Taurus rising, you're allowed to evolve past your expectations. The truth is, peace is waiting just on the other side of letting go. I promise you. Best of luck to you.